On this episode of The AutoArchaeologist, take two, because I did this once before and none of the audio recorded. So here I am talking about year 3 on YouTube and the future, as well as I'm talking about this green car next to me, which may or may not be in better shape or not. You decide. All right, hey everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the last 3 years of my YouTube content. Traveling around, documenting cool cars and neglected situations. I've been able to document a wide variety of really cool cars. Yankos, Shelbys, Hemi Cudas, the RTS Cuda, and so many cars in between. Hemi Superbirds in the rafters. And I've been very fortunate to be able to do that over the past 3 years and at least show it with you. Some of the videos are from before that time. And the past 3 years have only been the most serious of the YouTube content I've been producing. I did produce YouTube content before that, but it was very sporadic because it was kind of in unison with the magazine business. So when that all went away because they all collapsed, I decided just to start rolling out my stuff on my own. And as you saw in some of my social media, the white 70 Barracuda convertible was the first one in the modern era, as I call it, because that's where I started posting every week, 52 weeks a year. And yes, there are a few where I've missed here and there, but for the most part, in the past 3 years, I've been very consistent with my work. And just to tell you the truth, it's been hard. It's been time consuming, a lot of money, because this doesn't bring in a lot, but I'm happy to share these adventures. I was sharing it for free before the magazines. I was sharing it on my blog. I'm sharing it now basically for free. And I am glad that people get out there and enjoy seeing the content I produce about the cars that I find. There's still plenty more coming up. I have a ton of videos waiting to be uploaded onto YouTube. Enough for probably another year without even doing anything new. I have plenty of plans in the timeline to go and shoot. And one of them is I do plan on telling you about how I do what I do. It's not easy. I've been doing it for a long time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But if you guys have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments below or any of the social media, because I do check it religiously. I'm a little OCD about that. But I know that's not what you're here about. You're here about the green car next to me, and it's my 1971 Dodge Challenger. It's not an original RT, but it's got all the good RT parts on it. It's got the rally hood, even though you could technically get it without being an RT in 70 and 71. It's got the 71 style side scoops. Currently it's got a 3-3 Magnum in it, and a 727 with an 8 3/4 with a sure grip in the back. That's the standard basic muscle car, combination. Originally, this car was a 318 904, which is the smaller automatic, and I think even a 7 1/4 rear end, a real tiny rear end. But it had some pretty good options. It had air conditioning, it had power steering, it had manual disc brakes, which was a plus. And I think it was F7 green. I'll put a picture up of the fender tag here and I'll point it out to see. I think it's F7. But that's not how I got this. Back in December of year 2000, actually, I purchased this car off of eBay. And I don't mean I purchased, I mean my mother and father did. I mean, I helped a little bit. And I was dumb. I shouldn't have done it. The car was in Arizona, but it was $6,000. And I'm sure people saw, I'll put up some pictures of the auction here to show you what it was going for. And I should have seen the telltale signs of a mishmash car. And a mishmash car is a car that's made up of a whole bunch of different other parts cars. The real short of it is almost every panel on this car, every fender, I think one fender is original, others not. Both doors are different colors. The hood's definitely a different color. The deck lid's blue. The floors are blue and purple and green. The car was pieced together, and then the bumpers are from like a 73, 74 Challenger. The car was I should have run away, but it was $6,000 and I was looking for an e-body because I wasn't a car kid. I didn't grow up loving muscle cars. I grew up the opposite. I just thought of them as transportation. But then in when I was 17, I was having a radio installed in my 1990 Ford Taurus wagon, my very first car. And in this shop was a 71 CUDA 3D3 car. And it was just the coolest thing. I can say with 100% certainty that car is the car that got me into all of this. Not just muscle cars, but finding barn finds, because I knew if I found this car by accident, what other cars could I find if I actually put my mind to it? And I actually have the grill from that car that started it all up on my wall. That's why you see it in the background so often. I'll show pictures. I actually have pictures of it when I found it because I borrowed the. Do you guys remember those cameras that had floppy disks in them? I had one of those temporarily. I took pictures of that car because it so sparked my imagination. Go forward a few years, we got this car on eBay, and my dad was a Ryder dealer. So it was like U-Haul, the second largest truck moving company in the world. And so he flew one of his employees down to Arizona, transferred a truck and trailer with the Challenger on it, and he drove it back here to Chicago. Unfortunately, when it got here, it didn't run. They say it ran when they pulled it on the trailer, but I'm not quite sure. Oh, another funny fact. This was stored, I think, at a Ryder dealer that closed. And when I closed up, went out of business, the owner took my Challenger to his house and stored it there for us until we could come pick it up. We thought it was gone forever. But fast forward, the car is here in Chicago. We went to the winter, my father and I, which was supposed to be a father-son project. We went to the Chicagoland Mopar Connection Winter Swap Meet and got a single point distributor because we had worked out the MSD in it had gone bad or something had gone wrong with it. So we took the MSD, sent it out to be repaired, put that single point distributor in, and promptly blew up the mufflers in the car because we had been dumping gas down the carburetor for week, 2 weeks. My mom thought the garage exploded. So that was fun. But we got it running and it was kind of drivable. But it kept on overheating. So we would work on it. We thought it was something engine related. So we pulled the engine and transmission out, even though they were both supposed to have been rebuilt. Went through it. It seemed fine. We repainted the engine, which I did a terrible job with. It's completely flaking off now. And then I went off to college. My father put the engine and transmission back in the car while I was in my first or second year in college. Go fast forward, my father is no longer in the picture, and I took over the project myself. And that's where it stalled for many years. I was busy in college. I was busy with schooling, busy getting a job. Eventually, we got the engine bay painted right around when we were putting the engine in. So the engine bay was green, but the rest of the car was still in primer. I trailered it with my Ram Charger up to Wisconsin to a media blaster friend of ours. He media blasted the whole thing. And then he was burned in a fire. So it's a whole thing. But I got it out of there several months later, got it home. And then our friends here at Ziegler Auto Body on Channel Road in Chicago, Lincolnwood, right there on the border. They painted it sublime green. And I got lucky that at the time, I think it's 2007 timeframe, the new Dodge Daytona at that time, one of the options was sublime green. So sublime green became a lot cheaper to get. So they painted the whole car green, and I thought that would be easy street from there on out. Boy, was I wrong. I got it home. I tried to start assembling it, but the wiring was an absolute travesty. Absolute dumpster fire. So many hacks, and my dad was a hack, and there was a electrical fire. I just put it in the corner for a while. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. Then my friend Mike and his sisters, they helped me take the interior out so we could redo the dash and the wiring. And then the car sat again. I finally had a guy go through it. I don't even remember when, and he got it running and driving barely. And then it sat again because nothing was done right. Around 2017, my friend Rob from St. Louis, everyone knew I had this car, but no one had ever seen it. And he's like, you know what? I have time off of work. I'm going to come up and help you get your car running and driving. And I'm like, okay, wonderful. So he comes up and helps me get it running. And we had some problems. The gear shifter wasn't working right, even though it's usually a very reliable thing. So we didn't know what was going on, but we got it running and sort of drivable. Funny story on the radiator. We found out why why the car was overheating. I took the radiator right down the block here. There was actually a radiator shop in Skokie, not far from me, and they took it all apart, boiled it out, put in, I think it's a 4-core radiator now. But they showed me that the mice had made a nest at the bottom of the radiator, so there was no flow whatsoever. It was full of stuff. But so Rob came, we got the car running.
Yep. Whoa.
And a mouse fell out of the car. A little baby mouse fell out of the car. And we're like, oh, well, we're not mean people. So we all walked away. And the mama mouse came and grabbed the baby and ran off into the alley. But we got the car running and it was drivable-ish, but it wasn't, the wiring was still wrong. And I let it sit again. But not that long. When was it? Then I was writing for Hot Rod magazine, and Freiberger, who hired me at Hot Rod, they were doing pre-roadkill episodes. So they were doing like the Super B revival. They did the Crusher Camaro road trip, and then the Barn Find Buick build, and then it led into roadkill, and that got me fired up. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get my green card going again. I'm like, I know for some reason when it's in park, it still doesn't want to start, but I'm like, I know how to, get it going. I know enough about MSD ignitions and all that. I can jump a few things and get it going. So I did. So I had everything on a single, basically strand, a whole big bunch of wires. I held it to the positive terminal and I got the car started, and it promptly backed up into the wall of my garage, taking out a shelving unit, having an exhaust manifold fall on the quarter panel, putting a dent in it, denting the rear valance, causing all kinds of wreckage to it's not a complete write-off, but I damaged the quarter panel with the paint. It depressed me. That was it for a while. I was done. After that, I'm like, you know what? I have more important things to do. I have my blue Challenger I can drive. I got my Caprice if I need it. I just put this in the corner and let it sit up until about 2021. In 2021, I was talking to Keith Knoll of Knoll Automotive in West Branch, Iowa, and told him my plan. My plan was on the week of the 4th was to take the car and get it out to him and have him completely rewire. I had a painless performance, complete wiring set up for this car, and I wanted him to fully get the car at least drivable, safe, make sure it ran, make sure it stopped. And I was going to do it while my mother was away, because this is actually her garage. I rented from her. I live nearby, but I don't have a garage there, so this is rented. So this car hasn't actually left this garage in 20 years for the most part. It's been out here and there, but not long term. So the whole thing was, everyone who was in, I had friends, I had family members. We were going to whisk this car away to Iowa while she was out of town in Wisconsin. Okay, great. Time comes, she goes off. My friend Keith and his friend Jerome and all of his crew helped get this car back on the road. And the funny thing is, my mother had no idea. She came home after her trip, walked in the garage and was completely flabbergasted. And I'll put the video of here with some expletive bleeps because she was rather surprised that the car was gone.
Where's the car?
What?
Holy f***, where's the car?
What are you talking about?
Garage looks nice and clean.
I know.
Oh my God, where is the car?
I had a friend take it to get it partially done.
Oh my God, no way! I haven't seen the garage in what, 25 years?
I know.
Oh
That's
my
all.
God.
Yeah, okay. And on an ancillary note, I talked to a gentleman from eBay Motors named Jordan, and he's like, "We like what you do. Would you be interested in doing collaboration?" So they gave me a few grand, and I was able to buy an entire Sniper EFI setup for my Challenger, because what Holly does is they drop remanufactured Sniper units on eBay. So I got it at a much lower price point than a original brand new version was. Also, I bought a QA1 front suspension kit minus the K member because I had that already, which you'll see in another video. And I bought a whole bunch of little other knickknacks for the car with that money. And I gave all the electronic stuff to Keith. I said, "Keith, I trust you guys. Go ahead, go to town." And that's what they did. They got the car running and driving reliably. I can turn the key and start the car if it's connected, if I was to connect the battery. And I'll show you, I'll have a video of the car running here in a second. Get the car home, and then it basically sat for the next 2 years also because things just happen, life. Over the last 18 months, though, I'd had a real rough patch there. The blue car was getting a new engine, but with the strike going on, it kept on getting pushed further and further back. And then it started on fire, which there's a previous video of that. And then what else happened? Oh, so that gave me the opportunity that the garage was half empty. So I'd come over here for a few hours every day after whatever I was doing that day, work or whatever, and clean the garage. I went through every single bin, every single box, every nook and cranny of this garage, and reorganized. You can see I have all new shelving units on the side. I've redid all the boxes. I knew where everything is for this car that I had. And so I just started putting stuff on the car. Me and my friend Seth, we put the rear bumper on, the rear taillights. I put the seats in. One's not bolted down, but that's for another day. I just threw the front end together for this video. But my intention with this car has always been to have a direct replacement for my blue car. The 2009 Challenger is an amazing vehicle, and I love that car dearly. But I want to be able to jump in this green car and go do whatever I need. I want to be able to go and do power tour. I want to be able to go and drive to Texas if I want to and go at barn finding. I want to be able to do whatever I need. So that's what I'm working towards, to make this car as reliable and as easy to use as my blue car. I'm going to have a Bluetooth radio in it so I can listen to my podcasts and audiobooks because I'm not really a music person. I know a lot of my friends who make fun of me because of it. I'm looking at you, Jim. My friend Sarah, too, which she quotes Pineapple Express that the car is going to kill itself. But I want to be able to jump in this car and go do anything. I'm already well on the way there. I've got the fuel injection that No Automotive put on. I'm planning on getting a real high, I guess you could say, rear gear. Right now, it supposedly has a 410 with a sure grip, but I don't know if that's legit. I don't know if they had those in 8 3/4. Me and Noel Keith thought it was high nines, like maybe a 973 or 3.9 something. It is a sure grip because I'll show you the video of it doing a burnout. But it's on its way. That's the important thing. It's finally It hasn't had a grill in this car since 2000. It never had a lot of the stuff that, when I got the car, like I said, it was a mismatch of wrong pieces. And it's finally being set right. I still have a major issue with the core support. That's why nothing really lines up in the front end. But I'm going to take care of that next year. But you guys let me know what you think. What would you like to see on the car? I have a whole bunch of small videos from the work I've done on this. I've got a video on the seat brackets I modified. I have a video on, I'm going to be painting the interior panels here, which are just out of sight over there. So I have a lot of cool stuff going on because this isn't the end. It's only year 3. I have plenty of more things to do and see in 2024. I've got barn finds, I've got trains, I've got planes to go check on. So I'm really excited to see what's coming. Don't forget that this coming weekend, after this is posted, is Jefferson Falls Swap Meet, which I'll be at, and then McCacken. And I've got some stuff lined up for McCacken that is quite insane. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this little piece. Oh, some of the upgrades for the car. I have, as you'll see in the video, I have QA1 front suspension. I have Hotchkiss sway bars. I got a Borgson power steering box. I got the Bergman power steering kit around it, which is phenomenal. That way we don't have to cut anything. What else do I got? Oh, I got 15-inch cop car disc brakes from like a 75 Cornet cop car, which is really rare. I got those sitting on the shelf. I got the exhaust tips. I got the proper side louvers. These are fiberglass ones and they're broken. I got all the trim I need to sort out to put in the right spot. But yeah, so I'm happy. I'm finally seeing this thing move forward. It's been 24 years. It's time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Start it right up.